Welcome.
Do we have intro? Do we have intro music?
We don't have intro music, and I already hit the start button. And this is the No Retakes podcast. So
we need some intro. Do a ditty for us.
I threw you the pat. Wait, what?
Do a little ditty for us.
I don't think they call it a ditty. That's not what they. That's not a thing. That's not what people say.
I'm pretty sure it is. No. A ditty is a little dance.
No, I don't. No, never. I've never heard that. It must be a Pennsylvania thing.
Ask ChatGPT. What's a ditty?
Okay, folks. So it's a big day today. The market's very excited about FOMC minutes that just came out. We got NVIDIA earnings after the market closed today. Market had a brutal bull trap, which, by the way, if you follow me at X, I said this looks like a crazy bull trap, and everything ended up puking up the highs that we had today, getting a little too far ahead of itself before the NVIDIA earnings. Gold, and before we kind of go into the deeper dive on the market, I think we're going to bounce off some headlines, Abe, and just get your reaction from it. So, JP Morgan actually came out this morning and said that they think that that the market is about to melt up and everything up cycle is on the way for the end of the year, was a report from JP Morgan. Keep in mind, 2 days ago, they said there was major recession fears, but
sounds like they want some liquidity so they can sell.
Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking as well. All right. Next headline. China has, this is an odd one. China has banned seafood imports from Japan after 1 month of them being open. They've actually not accepted any seafood from Japan since Fukushima. Is that how that's pronounced actually? Is that right? Fukushima, I believe. Since the nuclear reactor fallout. Meltdown. Yeah. Japan released all the water that was there after saying that they decontaminated it, and China said, "We don't believe you. We're not going to eat any of your seafood." And after reopening it for 1 month, China, in retaliation from tariffs, has shut it down, and it actually got a reaction of the entire Japanese market.
I mean, China's a pretty big customer.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of makes sense. I didn't realize that they weren't. They ever since then they haven't accepted any.
Not imports. Since I might have phrased it a bit weird. Not since it shut down, but since Japan released the water, which I believe was actually still years ago. That Japan released that water. China said, we don't trust you. We think that water's still contaminated. We're not going to eat any seafood from there. Which, to be honest, I've been to China. I've eaten that food. And, whatever was in that seafood is probably not much worse than whatever's in their food now. Food's great, but, they eat some wild stuff. Okay. I ate chicken legs. It was like I took out my wallet and tried to eat it. It was like eating just straight leather. Yeah. Ugh. Fork full of spicy I remember I had a fork full of spicy. It was octopus eggs, fish eyes, and a chicken feet and a pasta mix.
Is your camera?
It just froze.
You froze for me.
I'm gonna fix it right here. But yeah, that is we should be back.
Yeah, I'm not really I don't really care.
Okay.
That much.
Next headline. That's what we're here for.
I mean, if we're being totally honest.
Well, okay. You wanna take it back to the crypto markets here, let me get this chart, are down $1 trillion as a whole. With honestly, Bitcoin leading the way. Ethereum's here. Ethereum might have caught up to Bitcoin. We can actually just look right here and see who's outperforming who. But what do you think about this? Is this a moment to buy, or a moment to die? Is this the the death cry. What do they call that? The death cough.
I know what you're talking about. But I don't know what it's called.
I think I got to take this to the 65-minute chart.
I can't think about what is it called? The death.
Yeah, so actually, as of today, Ethereum has lost its relative strength over Bitcoin. It looks like the true flip came actually earlier, about a week ago. About a week ago, Ethereum started underperforming Bitcoin. Truly.
I mean, I don't know. I can see why long-term buyers would be taking some nibbles here, but I'm not in a hurry to jump into any longs here. If anything, maybe covering some shorts, but I'm not really in a huge hurry.
Yeah, I mean, this chart just looks so awful here. Like we broke a trend line that we held since 2020 August 2024. And I mean, honestly, this is in log form here. So in log form, this trend line actually goes back all the way to 2022, November 2022. And it's yeah, like this technically comes back all the way here. And I mean, you have the clearest day break here. We could take this out of log and kind of clean up that trend line here. Yeah, and you still have just a massive break. You've lost your bullish EMA on the monthly here. You don't have real support on the monthly chart until 72,000. However, at this exact moment, you're pretty extended on the weekly. But honestly, these candles don't show any signs of relief. I mean, that's three massive red candles in a row.
If I were gonna do anything in here, it would be covering shorts, and then and I had this conversation with Abraham and the noobs. I'm gonna wait till we get an actual washout day, and then I'm going to I want to see this down 5 to 7K in a single day or an overnight session, and then I'm going to look at selling some puts into that kind of momentum. Like he covered half of he only had two, but he covered half of his shorts today, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to catch some type of a washout, and then maybe flip the deck over and not straight long, but just sell the other side of it and try and play that momentum shift. That's what I'm going to do. Excuse me, sir. I don't know if you know this, but we're on a podcast.
I got an important text message. Okay. If you're unaware what Abe was just talking about there, it's a show he does with his son. That you can actually find on YouTube. It's criminally underfollowed. You know, content like that is rare to find. He's teaching his 18-year-old son how to trade options. Gave him almost $50,000 to trade with, and going through each position, explaining it. So it's honestly the absolute best content if you're a novice in option selling, to just go through there and just binge that content. You know, each episode, and just you can learn from knowing nothing, watching stuff like that, because his son knows nothing, so he's explaining everything in great detail. Amazing content. And yeah, I mean, honestly, man, like what was that move yesterday? I closed all my puts yesterday. You know, that was a 13% down day. Oh, that's over the week, though. We were down 13% last week, and we hit my first target, which was 90K. Below here, I'm looking for 84. But it's pretty extended here. Now I could trade sideways until it meets that bearish EMA again, and then do another leg lower to that 84. But yeah, I'm not sure. I have no position at all. I do hold some Bitcoin, but out of the 30, I think at a 33 per thousand average here. And then I hold some Ethereum at a 2,400 average, not as good. And that's my larger position right now. And I don't like to see it developing the relative weakness either.
Unless we're saying that unless we're saying the behavior mechanics of Bitcoin have changed, which I think you could maybe start to make a little bit of an argument with the volume of institutions that now have ETFs and funds and incorporation into things like IRAs, retirement account, 401ks, etc., so on and so forth. There's a lot more liquidity, but I still, looking back at the way that this thing behaves, I want to see that gut wrenching, pure panic before I flip the deck over.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, what I think is really driving this is like consumers going broke. I think that's what all the headlines say. Yeah. I mean, I
What do you
almost
think
feel
about the
like
whole?
I almost feel like I should have taken profits when I saw that tweet. I can't remember who even tweeted it. It's like Crypto Girl or something with like 300,000 followers. She tweeted and said, "I'm not selling my Bitcoin, but I have no money to buy more." And it had like almost 100,000 likes, and I was like, "Oh no." That probably should have been my signal to just take some profits, a lot more profits than I have, honestly.
If that
But
if that's your kind of philosophy or thesis, what do you think about these dividend checks that we're talking about giving out? The tariff dividend checks. Do you think that's going to have an effect on the crypto markets like people are talking about?
There's a few different angles. There's the do I like it angle, do I think it will happen angle, does it make mathematical sense angle? The math there is
just the effect on the market, not whether or not you think it's a good idea.
Oh, okay. Effect on the market: moon to the moon. Everything up. Crypto goes nuts. Meme coins become a thing again. Maybe even NFTs come back. Everything will skyrocket. Bond market will collapse. Gold will go back into moon mode. Silver will do the same thing. Our meme stocks are gonna get big pumps. You might get a GME squeeze all over again. Beyond Meat will be $100.
$100.
I think it will be that significant because it's UBI. It's not. He's not saying it's UBI, but as soon as you start offering everyone checks, any politician who says I'm going to take that away is not getting elected. And anyone who votes that away is not. It's going to get booted. Like we're in a populist regime right now, and democracies love to print money, so you can't take away free stuff you give them, or they power.
The difference between what we did during COVID and what Trump is doing is this money already exists theoretically.
No, it doesn't. The money doesn't exist. The math is absolutely nonsensical. I will push back on that so hard. The math makes 0 sense. The dividend checks would cost more than the supposed revenue we have, because honestly, there's only like 3 real trade deals that have actually been finalized. Everything else is like a handshake. We super duper promise we'll do it, which is historically meaningless. Even if stuff is written out, countries all the time just don't commit to them. So yeah, I mean, no, the math is not there.
What would the total amount for the cost of something like that be?
I can't remember when I was running through it. It's something like, I don't know. I'm just be talking out of my ass. I don't remember the exact numbers. I have it written down somewhere, but I'm not gonna spend 10 minutes looking through GPT chats to find it. But yeah, I don't think there's anyone who defends the math, quite honestly.
So cursory glance looks about 450 to 600 billion. So I think so far tariffs have only generated like 220 or 230 billion in revenue so far.
Mm-hmm.
So
and that's why the bond market
even
would
if-
just collapse.
Even if we were to wait, with the tariff, if you look at the trajectory, though, if you ask ChatGPT to chart the tariff revenue month by month, it is increasing like month over month by a lot. Like, you're talking going from like 20 billion one month to like 30 billion the next month. So the growth is there in the trajectory that we're on. So if we were to wait and do something like that in a few months, then somewhere around half of it would have to be money that was generated basically out of thin air.
Yeah. Yep. Which
is still different. Which I don't think it's a good idea. It's dumb, but it's still different than what we did when we generated 100% of it out of thin air.
I think the checks are a great idea. I'm going to make a killing. And the rich,
not a good idea for the country.
The rich people who are complaining about like, oh, you're going to have to raise my taxes to pay for it. I mean, the math probably makes sense for them to also be in favor because, you know, the people that are going to get those checks are going to blow them all, which is just it's going to be a transfer of money from the government to the rich, just like COVID was. You give out all these stimulus checks, the government writes all these checks. Most of the people receiving those checks have to spend them on expenses that they need to pay. And the people that they're paying are the rich. So that's why you're in an environment where 70-year-olds are doing, you know, 100% better than they were 40 years ago. And 40-year-olds are doing, you know, about 50% worse than they were 40 years ago. That's the whole thing that's driven the K-shaped economy, and then the Fed hiking interest rates into the fear of inflation rising again. It's just nonsensical. But you know, we're kind of getting into boring stuff here. You know, funny enough, you know, Japan actually, and you know, China's hinted at it but hasn't done anything yet. But Japan is talking about doing massive stimulus, and their bond market is, their rates have spiked to the highest they've been since 1999 on their 30-year bonds, and on short-term maturities, they're as high as they were during the 2008 crisis. And I think that's actually what's causing the risk off in the market. Do you have any thoughts on that? You follow the Japanese market as well. They're getting tagged on all sides. They cut off their seafood and doing stimulus and lots of turmoil there.
I don't follow their currency. I don't follow the markets.
I guess the only thing I would add then is that it looks like a setup for a carry trade blow up. And I think that's what's happening in the market is all this deleveraging because of that. And that's why it kind of seeing everything get sold off regardless of like what should probably sell off more or shouldn't sell off more. Everything's actually just getting sold off relative to the amount of leverage that's in it. You know, which is why Nvidia is getting hammered more than Apple, even though honestly Apple should not be traded at the highest valuation in the market. Do you want to talk about Apple? You have any thoughts about Apple? I just did a really long X thread on how stupid Apple is.
Just the valuation?
Oh yeah, and just as a long-term thesis. I mean, would you rather buy Meta at 8 times sales here, or would you rather buy Apple at 34 times sales here when Meta has about 10x the growth rate? I mean, this market is about as stupid as it gets right now. Fundamentally, I mean, nothing makes sense.
I don't trade Apple hardly at all anymore. Like, I don't remember even the last time I put a trade on an Apple, just because I don't like it as an instrument. It's not as good of volatility in there compared to a lot of other things. I think it's really expensive, and I don't want to get stuck with Apple shares for the next, you know, however many years. if it does see a slowdown in growth, I don't want to be stuck holding shares at the very, very tippity top. So I've just kind of stayed away from it. I think there's a lot more interesting things out there to trade.
Yeah,
especially if you're looking for volatility.
Altman keeps hinting at them going to produce some sort of AI device, and I think it's going to be a phone. I think XAI is going to build phones. I don't know when, but I think Elon's going to make phones. He keeps saying he won't, but it just makes sense.
He talks about it.
It just makes way too much sense. Can you imagine a phone built with the purpose of being the everything app through XAI that you could then use as like, you wouldn't even need a remote for your Tesla car. It would just all be through your X phone. The X phone. That actually sounds kind of cool. Sounds cooler than an Apple. But,
I don't know. He keeps saying that he's more focused on other things, and he's come out and said unless he feels there's a need basically for him to do that, he's not going to.
Yeah.
And he said that multiple times.
I think he will. Especially if Tesla starts getting hammered and this guy needs to generate some more hype and the robots are too far away. By the way, look at Target here testing.
Target, I think, has earnings today.
They had their earnings and they missed on revenue.
Was that this morning they had earnings?
Yeah, they had earnings this morning. It looks like they bought it up at the open with the market and they've sold it off completely.
Sounds about right for this market.
This is an old short signal that I had set like a long time ago that just went off, honestly. Yeah, it's testing this previous low. I set that alert back in October and it's just now triggering. What do you think about Target?
The problem with Target is Walmart is just destroying them with their deliveries, with their online. Walmart is basically turned into what Walmart has done is taken their stores and turned them into Amazon warehouses, and now and they've hired a bunch of gig workers to facilitate all their driving for them. And they will deliver things to your door faster than Amazon now.
Yeah, and SYM is doing their warehouse automation, by the way. Wow, what a stock. We called this one out originally at like $14. They hit a high of 81. Insane. Not that I held it all the way up, but one of our members actually lives in I think Arkansas is where the first Walmart is. And they do drone delivery for all the neighborhoods around them. And he sent me a video of Walmart doing a drone delivery to it. They just parachute down all the groceries into your backyard.
So Walmart, next time you're in
so
Walmart,
don't leave your dog outside.
When you're walking through Walmart, the next time you go, look at the shelves and look at the tags. You'll notice that they've changed the tags and they've digitized them now. There's a little electronic chip in each of the tags now. So when their shoppers go through, get these orders to fulfill for their customers, there's a little strobe light built into the price tag. So when you walk and you know which aisle you're going to, their shoppers now click a button on their phone or their device and a flashing strobe turns on directly at the item. So all they have to do is start to walk down the aisle and they can see immediately exactly what they're going for. So they've got a bunch of employees just walking around the store all day hitting these buttons and then the flashing, and they're just like boom, 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 filling up all these different shopping carts for everybody. And they have it there at your house in ridiculous periods of time. So that's why Target sucks. Because like they're way behind on all this crap.
That's pretty cool.
So
yeah, I did go to Walmart recently, and I was supposed to just run in there real quick, get some baby formula, and I got caught up looking at all the new clothing they have. Like they completely at the Walmart near me at least, they completely redid all the clothing areas. They have massive sports displays. It feels more like a Dick's Sporting Goods in the men's clothing section now. So that was pretty cool, and the prices weren't too bad as well. Now I still like getting clothes at Costco because it's hard to beat those prices. But I was actually pretty impressed by the selection at Walmart. But
I don't know. I just think that they get it when Target doesn't, as far as what it takes to be a competitor in this market.
Oops. I just broke the Discord. Nope. Put it back. There we go. All right. Next topic. We talked about that. What do you think about this massive collapse on Home Depot? You got any thoughts on that?
Well,
I heard you
know what I think about it because I put a position on.
Oh yeah, well you were talking about that with your son, I believe. So you tried to look for a bounce. You think it's oversold? I mean, it's clearly oversold here. It will get a bounce, but it's just when,
that is always the question.
I will say, I was forced to buy some things at Home Depot because I'm impatient. I'm finishing my basement right now, and I didn't even want to wait a day for Amazon to ship it to me. But I was going around with my phone and checking Amazon for everything that was at Home Depot, and the price difference is actually ludicrous.
Oh yeah.
It's, we're not talking like, oh, it's a few bucks cheaper. I mean, almost every single thing I looked at, even when it was just, PVC piping, or I also needed to buy some wiring. It was literally like 40% cheaper on Amazon. I mean, Home Depot's prices are absolutely asinine. So I'm not surprised I've missed the past 3 earnings at all. And I'm also not surprised they're still beating on revenue. But I don't think that's gonna, with the consumer hurting so much, I think Home Depot is gonna have to bring down prices a lot to compensate for the amount of pain they're getting. I mean, it's just,
especially when there's alternatives that are available. I mean, it used to be like Home Depot was kind of like the version of Amazon that we're seeing the Amazon be to Home Depot, because it was like you used to have these mom and pop hardware stores, smaller hardware stores, and you went to Home Depot or Lowe's to get the deals on things because they were so big that they could push them out of the market, and you paid a lot more going to these small mom and pop shops. I'm sure they're still more expensive than Home Depot, but now Home Depot looks like these small mom and pop hardware stores as far as how much you're paying. It just seems ridiculous for everything. And even Walmart, like when it comes to not very technical things that are like home maintenance, home repair, you can just walk usually Home Depot and Walmart's are co-located pretty closely. And for simple things that Walmart carries, it's always way cheaper at Walmart than Home Depot. It's the same exact thing in a store right across the street, but it's, 20-30% cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how Home Depot crawls out of this hole without bringing down prices and then crushing their revenue. I think they're going to go through a period of deep prolonged retracement as they have to manage how to fix all this. And they get hit pretty hard by tariffs too. So yikes. I'm very bearish on Home Depot. You could look for a short-term bounce, but I think you're donezo there, to be honest. What? Okay, so just today, Trump came out with announcements saying that Powell is completely incompetent. He wishes he could fire Powell, but he keeps being told to just wait another 3 months. Powell's only got 3 months. He called him the most incompetent Fed president ever. Said he's terrible at his job. Interest rates should be lower. What do you think about the brutal attacks on Powell? He also mentioned that he already has the next Fed chair picked out. Thoughts?
Um, I'm just very surprised. That doesn't sound like something Trump would say. He character assassinated. I mean, it's very atypical for Trump to go after somebody when he doesn't get his way. This isn't new. This is, I mean, we've been dealing with this for, the whole year at this point. It's Trump's MO to personally attack and insult people when they don't do what he wants. I think it's good that the Fed isn't being influenced by Trump, but I think the rates are going to be driven by the price action in the bond market, not vice versa. And when the bond market says it's time to lower rates, the Fed will lower rates.
Yeah, I mean, well, they lowered them, and even today on the info we got today, like mortgage rates are still going higher. Bond market is still going lower. Like the market is not letting rates come down, and I guess that's an important part for people to realize is that the Fed kind of sets a benchmark, but the market really decides what the real rate is, not the other way around. So market forces are stronger than anyone. So yeah, that's a good point there. I agree. I think Fed's that Jerome has made some major mistakes, but at the same time, I feel like he doesn't. He does a lot more than what he gets credit for. He has like one of the hardest jobs in the world, in my opinion.
And they've done a good job so far of threading the needle through all of this. Has it been perfect? No, but I mean, the economy's not perfect either. He's dealing with a pretty complicated beast.
Yeah, I still think that they should have cut rates sooner than they did. I actually do agree with Trump on that.
I think they could have as well. I think they could have started a little sooner. But I mean, hindsight's 2020, and the bond market really wasn't telling them that they had to for a while.
Market selling off here, actually, by the way. Fed Minutes says there's still a narrow majority of officials who favor holding steady in December. No rate cut.
Dear.
Headline from Bloomberg says December is going to be a close call for whether or not we're going to get a rate cut. So you know what I think? You know what I think? Because of that, let the Bears feast on Thanksgiving. They think it's going to be a close call. This market is going to pout. Market's going to say, you think it's a close call? I think not. Let's sell off another 3% and then see how you feel. And then they will cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're both in agreement on that one. I think that was an easy. That's an easy.
They're not going to like it.
Yeah.
Not going to like it.
Well, you know what, man? I think that's. Oh, go ahead.
They were hoping for 0.5%.
Right.
Last time. Then not only did they not get that, they got a stern talking to.
Yeah. Which they do not like at all. Thoughts on I don't think you follow this, but the new Gemini model came out. Gemini is now the number one AI in the world. It's just about as good as the newest OpenAI model, except it's about 10 times more efficient. It can handle. By that I mean it's cheaper to run, and it can handle 10 times larger context windows. For those confused, that means that all AIs, when you talk to them, can only remember a certain amount of information that they reference when to continue the conversation. Um, so if you're talking to them for a very long time, eventually they'll forget how the conversation started. But Google's context window, how much it can remember for each conversation, and therefore how many documents you can upload to it, how long you can talk to it, is 10 times larger than OpenAI's because it's so much cheaper and more efficient to run. What do you think about that, Abe? You have any thoughts?
Um, I've used it. I like the fact that I'm
Integrated?
still, yeah, like I'm still old people that got used to going to Google. I'd much rather have it be integrated right there on the Google homepage than have to go to a separate AI app like ChatGPT. So I find myself using it more and more. Um, it's still not as good, in my opinion, at doing some things. Like I feel like ChatGPT is a little bit more user friendly at some things when it comes to like creating things for you. But as far as access to information and organizing it in a way that's easy to understand, I think it's just as good and easier for more convenient for me.
One of the things that
I
I
think
that I tweeted about with Google, and this is one of those ideas you can't really trade on it, and you can only kind of invest on it. But I feel like I am 100% correct on this. But like Google's newest, because Google's so much cheaper, that means they can create long videos, and they're already rated better than Sora by um, many companies and users for their video creation. But if you integrate that AI video with YouTube, and YouTube creators can make their own shows with their own AI characters, Netflix, HBO, Paramount, AMC, Disney all go get hammered, and YouTube takes over everything. Because honestly, I think the best talent in content creation isn't writing for Netflix. They're making YouTube videos. Um, and if you give them the ability to be writer, director, and everything, and all at the touch of their hands using software, they're gonna do it, and it's gonna be freaking amazing. There's gonna be studios that just move to YouTube full time, and it just dominates. In my opinion, I think that's where it's headed. What do you think of that? What do you think of that take?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't. I
And
wouldn't be surprised to see.
my hope is that smaller studios like Angel Studios also adopt AI. They've been really kind to the creators and stuff, but I do hope that they do some AI shows and continue this trend of spending very little to make still big hits. Is my hope there. But the other thing, everyone keeps saying it was Buffett. It wasn't Buffett. Buffett's retired, but Berkshire Hathaway bought about 4 billion worth of Google. Now, I don't know about you, but I actually took profits on Google near the recent high, which by the way, today we set new highs. So egg on my face there. I still feel good about taking the profits I took. We were buyers here between 140 and 160. Today we did creep over 300. I actually shorted that high today and made 100% on the exit on a pretty large position, honestly. What do you think? What do you think of that? We were already up a good. I mean, what would that even have been? Let's say we bought at 160. We were up about 86%, and Buffett was our liquidity out.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's pretty extended here, and it's one of the things in the market right now that's not. It doesn't care that the market's weak. And it really hasn't. Had great earnings, got a massive rally into earnings, and we've just seen a continuation. Which kind of makes sense. I mean, the thing was compared to all the other Mag 7 stocks, I think this thing was just way, way undervalued for a long time. but now I think we're getting to the point where it's a little bit more fairly priced. I'm not interested in taking big longs right here. It's already a behemoth of a company. And I think that there's more interesting things. Again, goes back to Apple. I think there's more interesting things out there.
They got off pretty easy with their lawsuits too. That news came out this morning. I think the pump this morning was in response to people realizing Gemini's amazing. The new Gemini Pro model is actually above expectations, and then the lawsuits went well, and then the whole market kind of chased its performance. But yeah, I think it's just the last thing to break, honestly. And that type of crazy move, when it's already in an extended uptrend, is, I mean, that's already given up half the move on the day. Actually, this looks like a classic blow off top. In fact, I should probably still be short here, quite honestly. This looks like a classic blow off top. So probably no new highs from here for another month. Honestly, when I look at this market, I don't see Santa Rally. What do you think about Santa Rally? You think Santa's coming to town this year? Because honestly, I don't see it. Maybe new highs next year should be pretty easy to do. Especially you get a new Fed chair in, you get what Trump wants. We price in the recession maybe, and then moon mission from there, right? But right at this moment, I don't see Santa Rally. I see friendly retracement.
We might see a Santa bounce because I mean, think about the time frame. We're talking a whole nother month. So like, if we remain weak here where we are and keep doing what we're doing for a whole nother month, we're talking we're going to be 5 to 7% lower in a month if we keep doing this. So if that is the case, then I think it would be more than time for a nice bounce right around those levels, but it's impossible to know. I mean, I think we've had
impossible,
a nice little bit of
it's hard.
I think we've had a nice little correction. I don't think we're done, but I think we're getting to places where things are becoming more interesting to start looking at. For me, selling some puts here. Like I just sold puts in Palantir today, into this big down move, just for not for like not for this thing to turn around and go straight back up, but just for a bounce into a move.
I think that's smart into like a Nvidia earnings pop.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty.
The thing is, like with Palantir, we're about to break the weekly here. Monthly hasn't given a sell signal yet.
It's priced. It's
if you look at the weekly is completely broken here though. Like weekly says we come to 140s.
Yeah, and you can sell the 125s in December and still get $1.50, which is not insignificant.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. And low risk.
You're talking premium all the way out. That's what 125 would be $40 away from the current stock price.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the kind of things that when we get into a market like this, those are the kind of positions that I'm going to be looking at putting on, where you're getting this premium just juiced into these puts. And I might be early, but am I okay being in a position where I might have to take some Palantir shares at 125? Yeah, I could probably stomach that. Okay. That's kind of the way that I think about it.
I went ahead and sized down on some of my NVIDIA puts, or Tesla puts. I'm going to be short NVIDIA in the earnings. I'm tempted to size back down on the Apple puts, but I think I bought these this morning and I want to keep all of them. Quite honestly. I think I do think Palantir for sure is going lower, but with the way we're kind of chopping sideways here into the close, I think that headline from FOMC minutes was pretty poor. So Nvidia's got to deliver big, except
Bigly.
It's so big, the biggest ever. Everyone will know how big it is. Truly big, bigger than the bombs we're going to drop on Venezuela. Which are the biggest bombs.
People tell me.
If people tell me.
I don't know, but people tell me it's probably the biggest.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest ever.
Oh man. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's a good show. We covered a lot of topics. And so if you guys enjoyed, make sure you check out that show that Abraham's doing with his son. It's great content, really educational. And make sure you check out the Discord. These are live in the Discord. So
we have a Discord?
We have a Discord. So if you want to join the Discord and participate in these lives for free and ask us whatever questions you want, make sure to head over there and check that out. Okay, leave a like, share the video. Appreciate you all. Best of luck in a really tough, honestly, really tough market. Oh, by the way, Abe. Oh, by the way, let's end this with a little bit of shit talk. I am now beating you in the small account challenge. At least I'm assuming so. I don't know where your small account's at.
Yeah, my small account got whacked because I have so much of Angel Studios. We're doing a podcast. Oh, love you.
Did you mail my package?
I did mail your package. I was going to do the podcast, and Josh was trying to get me to mail the package after the podcast, and I said no.
Good choice.
Thank
You just sold me out to the wife. That is.
Meet Josh's face.
Anyways, you're getting crushed in the small account challenge. We are racing to 10K. And I have taken a lead, baby. And I will hold that lead because honestly, trading's been amazing right here. I say tough market, but it hasn't been a tough market for me. I'm actually doing amazing right now on a pretty stellar win streak. So let's keep it up. Got any more final comments, Abe?
Nope.
All right. God bless, guys. Have a great night.